You know, these are perilous times right now for recreation and access to our public lands. Each year, we're losing approximately 300,000 acres to most forms of recreation. And that means what we're seeing is concentrated use, increased impacts, all things that we as people who enjoy our public lands are concerned about. It also means that when we're forced onto a smaller area, then we're not having a lot of fun because there's too many of us in too small an area. So what we're here today to do is to make sure that we're able to keep all of the lands that we currently have for recreation open to all of us. Some people want to eliminate access for all of us. Some people want to tell you that you and your families are not responsible enough to recreate on your public lands. And they often say that people litter on public lands or treat the public lands poorly. And that's true. There are some bad apples. So there's a small percentage. But we don't close our highways because there's a few drunk drivers. We don't roll up our city streets because somebody gets mugged. And we shouldn't close our public lands because there's a few irresponsible people. So I want to know, are you tired of closures on your public lands? Yeah! Are you tired of being told that you and your family are not responsible enough to recreate on your public lands? Yeah! Well, there's something you can do about it. We put together a very simple, easy to follow action program. So on the web at savethetrails.us, and you do because you need to do something. The key is that each of us, we can all make a difference. The key is the difference, but only if we speak up. And if we don't, we stand to lose more and more access. Speaker, he's a man who has worked tirelessly to protect your recreation interest, family values, to protect the Constitution. I wish we had more like him in Congress. Please welcome Congressman Kevin McCarthy.
First, we have to thank Chris. He is a national hero for what he does. And I appreciate you coming out. I know it's a warm day. But did you realize every speaker got up here, not one of them needed a teleprompter? Because they knew what they believed. And I'm going to tell you something. We're all out here today, but there is a group much bigger than that fights us each and every day. But this is about public lands. They're supposed to be public. We all pay for them. They should be opened up. But you realize every single Congress since 1963 has closed a little more? This is a war on the West. Half of all the land in the West is owned by government. And then what do? They shrink it. You heard Dave, and I want to thank Dave and Chris. They came back to Washington. We put them before a committee to testify. And who did the others bring? They brought government officials in to tell them how somehow we are wrong, that we wanted to let more people to enjoy it. And what they are doing is they're trying to divide us. We look up at this poster. We all want the multiple use. They're trying to divide us up. No, let's just knock off the motorized people. And maybe the backpackers will say, oh, that's okay because I'll be okay. Well, they'll come for you next. So we have to stay united. You know, when Dave talked about that forest is more than 1 million acres, and now it's only 22% to enjoy, you know what they're doing to us? They're destroying our lands. Because they're putting all those people on a smaller portion. That's not how you manage land, and that's not how you protect it. Now, we live in an area that understands, because we have people out here. We got a good article in our local paper from Lois Henry. But do you know what they have also done? We can thank Lois. We should. And I'm the first one to agree. I don't think Lois has ever voted for me. And she tells me that. But this is a common sense bill. But do you realize that same paper's editorial board wrote an editorial against this bill without even reading the bill? They write an editorial. I called them up and I said, did you read the bill? No, we got this article from San Francisco about it. I said, that's odd. I haven't introduced it yet. How'd they have any facts about it? Then I asked them, now that you have the bill and now that you've read it, I even gave it to Lois. She's read it and she doesn't see anything wrong. Would you write a new editorial? No, we won't. So they use that same editorial against every person I go to co-author the bill. My hometown paper that writes an editorial without reading the bill. So I will tell you, there is an army against us. We are getting bipartisan support for this bill, but I will tell you, every member that goes on it, the extreme environmentalists attack them. They tell me. They say, this is a great bill, I'm getting attacked back home. And you know the good thing about it? A lot of them said it just makes me want to fight harder. Well, I'm going to tell you here today, you have the ability to help. Because we won't just pass this bill just because it's a good idea. We're going to have to fight to pass this bill. This is a war on our way of lives. I want you to go online. It won't cost you a dime. There's Facebook pages, there are others. Thank those who have signed on to it. But go to those who have not and let them hear from our side as well. That you believe public land is public. And that means across the United States. If we are successful of taking a study by their own government, that our own government said this should not be wilderness, it should not be roadless, and we should turn it back in, and we win that, the extreme environmentalists finally realize that the nation has woken up. This is an integral part of being successful. Common sense has got to win at the end of the day. It is the mountain that we have to climb. It is for the next generation when you say about your grandchildren. So yeah, there's going to be a fundraiser. We've got to make sure Chris does not run out of money and be able to go where he's able to speak. He has the facts. He can talk about it. He's not afraid to discuss it with anyone. And when we join together, it will open up to have a public land public once again. So I want to thank you. I want to God bless you, but I also want to encourage you and challenge you to join in the fight. Thank you very much.
Corva works with everybody. We don't care why you go into the forest or use public land. We just want you to be able to use the public land. Our job is, those of us who do this professionally, our job is to represent you as best we can at all the meetings we can and make sure that people understand that the hardworking people of this state, up and down the spine of California, the Sierra Nevadas, deserve their opportunities to go out and hunt, whether you fish, whether you wheel. No matter what you do, the land that we wheel on is ours. The land that we drive on, ride on, belongs to the American people. The environmental organizations, the extremists, have tried to take it away from us for too long, and we're fighting back. So I want to encourage you, inspire you, push you, whatever I need to do to have you take a part and make sure that the traditional American activities continue in California, because if we don't, we will lose them. I can promise you that. The people that are trying to take it away from us are trying very, very hard, and they're very smart, and they're very organized. So it's up to us. You all came out today when Chris put out the call, and that's fantastic. Keep it up. Go back to your clubs. Tell them, we must get involved. We have to do it if we want ourselves, our families, and in my case, my grandchildren, to still be able to go out on the trail.
As a longtime member of Backcountry Horsemen of California, I've discovered throughout American history that we have, as a people, given away our rights to the use of public lands. We have done so in order not to offend and to keep certain peace with those groups better funded and more aggressive than we are. It's time we join with Congressman Kevin McCarthy, other concerned elected officials, and private citizens to ensure that we are not excluded from use of those precious American resources that have been preserved by the people, for the people. I started out using the national parks and forests as a backpacker many, many years ago. I loved it. I loved being up there. I loved what I saw. I loved what I got to do and what I got to enjoy. But as I aged, my knees got bad. I was diagnosed with asthma, but I didn't want to stop when I had been before as a backpacker. I was able to take my children and take them up there as young people to enjoy and understand the legacy that they had received from those that had gone before us.
Next to the Horsemen will be next. And the High Sierra hikers, I believe, filed a lawsuit, and President Obama apparently has forced an injunction to stop the stalkers from going into the high country. This is going to devastate some rural communities. And obviously it's going to stop the horsemen from enjoying it, and it's going to stop a lot of people who would have gone in on those horses from enjoying those public lands. But you can see it's incremental. It's a little restriction here, a little restriction there, a little bite all the time. But these bites add up to the big picture of closure. A couple of years back, I met then Ranger Dave Freeland, who's the district ranger on the Sequoia National Forest.
Thanks, Chris. In 1973, I can remember this week, I graduated from college up north. I grew up in Placer County. I joined the Forest Service because at that time it was once a proud multiple-use agency, and I wanted to join a multiple-use agency. It was respected by Congress. It's been hijacked by radical environmental groups. It's been hijacked by sympathetic judges like the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco for decisions. A lot of the Sequoia National Forest that I retired at has become essentially wilderness area.
Richard is a lifelong resident of the area. He enjoys 4x4 recreation. He's the president of Bakersfield Trailblazers, and we have to thank them because they're putting on this wonderful feed that we're going to enjoy in a couple of minutes. We also need to thank them because they do a lot of volunteer work, clearing down trees and planting trees to speed reforestation in Sequoia National Forest. So please, a warm welcome to Richard Gauthier, president of Bakersfield Trailblazers.
Well, hi, everybody. Well, I have a comment similar to what Mike from the Horsemen said. I started out as a backpacker, and I've had my kids on backpack trips all over the Southern Sierra. You know, I'm part of the Bakersfield Trailblazers. We're the oldest car club in Bakersfield. We have adopted trail agreements on numerous trails in the Sierras, and we work at it. We build water bars, we build creek crossings, we put up signs to close illegal routes. Really, we're environmentalists. You know, the people that are called environmentalists are extreme. We are the real environmentalists because we're out there using the land, taking care of it, trying to educate the people around us to responsible use, and that's what we do. And it really is offensive and abusive the way that we're treated by these extreme people. And really, it's, you know, well, we all know how much land we've lost. You know, if I wanted to go backpacking and I still could, there's a bazillion trails out there. I could never in my lifetime hike all the trails that are in the Sierras. But yet, when I want to go out in my Jeep, I've got a handful of trails within driving distance that I'm able to use, and I have to use them over and over and over again. And it shouldn't be that way. What we can do, one of the biggest things that we can do is belong. You know, not everybody is going to take the time to write a letter. I mean, it would be good if we all did, but it's not going to happen. It would be good if we would all make phone calls, but it's not going to happen. But we can all belong to our respective organizations. If you're a horseman, you can belong to the Horsemen's Association. If you've got a 4x4, you can belong to a 4x4 organization. You can belong to our California Association of Four-Wheel Drive Clubs or any other association that represents what you do, because your annual dues will pay the salaries of the people that are out doing the things that need to be done. Your contributions, supporting fundraising events, provide money to pay lawyers to fight the lawsuits that the extreme environmental groups are doing. And really, it's about money, and it's about time, and it's about labor and effort. And if we can't do it ourselves, we have to support the people that are going to do it. And we can do that by belonging. So I just encourage you, if you have an activity, belong to the group that supports that activity.
Take action to stop the closures of your public lands. www.savethetrails.us has an action program that is easy to do. You can make a difference.